Welcome back, everybody. I'm David Brown here with Tim Thurber and Isaac of the Aggies Up Podcast. Isaac, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah.
Exciting. That was our end game for the beginning of the season. Was we got to get to a bowl game, and we accomplished that in week 7.
Yeah.
And then
And then we
we
took
just
the rest of the
coasted.
season off.
We took the rest of the season off. We've been on bye weeks getting ready for you guys for the past 6 weeks.
Hey, doesn't really matter how you get there, right? You got to get to 6 wins, and the Aggies made it a little bit interesting there at the end, going to overtime in a couple
Yeah.
games to get to bowl eligibility. So I guess the Aggies end of the season was a little bit more exciting, but yeah, it all ended pretty much the same record. So.
Yeah, you guys needed that last win against was it New Mexico, and what a hell of a game that was. 44 points and 2 overtimes. Man, that's it's an exciting game to watch. Now, it was the first start for Levi Williams?
First start as an Aggie. So he
Right.
transferred. Yeah, he transferred from Wyoming, and actually played in the Potato Bowl with Wyoming and had a huge game. So that's kind of an interesting note coming up too. So.
Yeah, I noticed that looking up your stuff. I noticed that, and I did not like that information at all. That was not not good to see. But before we get too deep into everything, as I said to you before we got started here, being a team in the Deep South, we don't pay a lot of attention to teams really past the Mississippi. Give us like the elevator speech on what Utah State is as a program and what's been going on with them, their history and everything.
Yeah, I mean, this season, I would say the Aggie fans are a little bit split on this, but for the most part, it's hard to argue that the Aggies beat the worst teams on the schedule, and they lost to the best teams on the schedule. So there was maybe a little bit of crossover. I mean, you guys, I'm sure you're familiar with James Madison. James Madison came to Logan and beat the Aggies. Utah State had to go to Iowa and lost a game at Iowa, which is a tough place to play. But for the most part, that's how the season went. It was kind of just mediocre, 6-6, 500 season, and they beat the bad teams and lost to the good teams. And I think there's a lot to build on for next season and moving forward. But for the most part, I don't think Aggie fans or Utah State coaches are going to be super happy with 6 wins per year. At this point, the Aggies make a bowl game almost every year for the last 10 years, really. So it's not like making a bowl game is the goal or a good season. It was just 2 years ago that Utah State won the Mountain West championship game against San Diego State, went to the LA Bowl, which is really the best bowl the Mountain West can get. And
right.
And so that was Blake Anderson's first year straight out of moving here from Arkansas State. And so he kind of peaked his first year. Last year was a disappointing year, and then this year was kind of a mixed, mediocre year as well. So,
yeah, I found it kind of interesting. I didn't even realize it until just a few hours ago when actually Tim messaged me that you guys had Blake. I saw the coach's name and it kind of rang a bell about it, put 2 and 2 together. That you got another Sun Belt coach, Blake Anderson, coming from Arkansas State over there.
Yep.
And that seemed like kind of like a weird thing because I was looking at his record, and while he did some good things at Arkansas State, he just basically they mutually agreed to part ways after I think a 4-win season, and they went straight to Utah State and then put up 11 wins. What do you think of Blake Anderson as a coach in that whole situation?
I think Blake's been a great fit as far as, obviously he came in, there wasn't that, ramp up time to kind of figure things out. He had already been a head coach. He had been successful. He had experience. He brought in a bunch of transfers. I feel like he hired a good staff. And so, that's I think sometimes when you hire a super young guy at some of these schools, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for them to ramp up. And really a lot of the other candidates were that way. They were coordinators or they were really small schools. And I feel like Blake was a home run hire because he had that experience. He had Arkansas State experience and just needed a change of scenery, really, after so much, really tragedy that hit his family with his wife passing away and some different things. So moving to Logan was a great move, and like you say, was kind of a good move for everybody, and it worked out pretty well, really well for Utah State.
Yeah, if you think you're isolated in Jonesboro, Arkansas, move to Logan, Utah, right? And that's not a dig. I'm from Memphis. I'm from like 2 hours away from Jonesboro, so I'm digging on them pretty hard in general. Tim, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, we were talking about the overtime games. I mean, you guys had 2 double overtime games. It must have been like heart attacks, like not even a couple weeks apart. How did y'all survive going through that?
By putting up 40 points
you're
in
not
the next
even
2 games.
Yeah. Well, you're not even counting UConn, because UConn was a blocked extra point at the last second to win the game.
No way, really?
I actually went to that game. Yeah. So if you look at the box score, the schedule, it says, the Aggies won 34-33, no overtime or anything. But that was literally a blocked extra point away, a made extra point away from going into overtime. And so that was pretty crazy. I was actually lucky enough to be at that game against UConn, and so that was crazy. And then Utah State beat Colorado State in a pretty good game, probably the best game the Aggies played all season. But yeah, like you say, I mean, overtime, San Diego State should not have been in overtime. I feel like the Aggies outplayed San Diego State, but they let it go into overtime and came up with some heroics and interception in overtime, or double overtime, I guess, to win that game. So yeah, it's been, and we already talked about New Mexico. New Mexico is a double overtime game as well, and just the Aggies have made the fans have some major heart attacks. And,
I can sense in your voice that you are very much the same thing as a Georgia State fan. Like it's like, why am I still a fan of this team? Why do I do this to myself every single week? Why do they do it to me every single week?
So we actually played UConn.
Season.
We actually played UConn too this year. We did pretty well against them, and we actually interviewed someone from one of their podcasts who inherently had never been to one of their games,
which is funny. You've been to more UConn games than he's been to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so now, David, we have to go to a UConn game next week.
Well, so that was going to be my next question for Isaac. Not to get off too off topic about our bowl game, but what was it like going to UConn for a game? Because when we scheduled this, however many decades ago it was, that I was like, I've never been to Connecticut. This is a game I want to try to go to. What'd you think of going to a game up there?
Well, I'm always going to be against stadiums that are not on campus. So I don't know what Georgia State's situation is. I know you guys are in Atlanta or whatever, but I have no clue. Yeah, I have no clue. Like I don't.
Hey, well,
Georgia...
we had this little small farm team called the Atlanta Braves that evacuated Atlanta, and they used to play on campus at our stadium there, and we just took over their place and made it home. So it's we do have an on-campus stadium. It is the former Braves stadium, but when I say it's on campus, like our students would park at Turner Field to go to school. So it literally is an on-campus stadium, and we've built dorms and stuff all around it now. So it's we've we've annexed that area of downtown Atlanta. So
so that's awesome. I mean, so UConn plays, and maybe maybe we're just completely clueless on UConn, but when I think of UConn, they have like an amazing home court advantage in basketball, right there in Storrs, and they have no football stadium in Storrs. They play in Hartford, and it's a 40,000 person stadium. It's fine. It's a fine, great stadium, But if it was on campus, it would be a completely different atmosphere than in Hartford, Connecticut. So that was disappointing to a certain extent. I think it would be cool to have an on-campus stadium. So that part of it was a little bit disappointing.
Okay.
You must really hate UMass then.
I know. Ooh.
Well, so we've dealt with it a lot, and as far as San Diego State didn't have their own stadium. They played in the NFL stadium for a long time and different things. So it's something that Utah State's played against. And we're some schools are just they just have to deal with that, and that's part of the deal. But to play in Hartford and it just seems kind of weird to me, but
so it's not on your go back list or anything. Not something that you would highly recommend.
No, it was a great trip. I think it was fun to go to Connecticut, go to New York City. I had a great trip, but the stadium and the football game wasn't like the. I mean, other than winning the game was great. That ending and everything was great. But outside of that, it wasn't like one of those bucket lists. Like, oh, I'm so glad now I've been to this stadium. I've seen a UConn game in person, like at LSU or somewhere like that I've also been. So it's not quite in that not quite that kind of experience for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not an SEC.
I think my desire to go there is because I don't think we'll ever play there again, and might as well just knock it out while I can. So that's kind of my thing.
Yeah, one and done. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you should do it.
So back to our game, we're getting hit hard by the transfer portal with a bunch of guys leaving, and like you just mentioned, SEC, we have guys that are leaving to the SEC. Obviously, those are big losses for our offense. Have you guys been hit hard by? I tried to look at what the portal said for you guys. Have you guys been hit by that at all, or injuries, or anybody that will be playing that was instrumental in the season? Who's going to be out, or not individually, but like what are we facing? What kind of team are we facing?
Yeah, I think a couple injuries on the defense. So the defense has been hit a little bit with injuries. Obviously. A couple quarterbacks have been injured, but we do have Levi Williams who's healthy, so he'll be the starter at quarterback. So I'm a little worried about the defense with a couple guys out, and I mean, luckily the transfer portal hasn't been as last year the Aggies lost 20 plus 25 almost guys in the portal. It was just a huge turnover, huge losses. Guys leaving left and right, and not just right now this time of year. So you kind of replace them. There was guys leaving, around spring ball. So it was completely different from this year. I think the Aggies lost a starting safety, but at the same time, the Aggies have a couple of safeties coming back. So it's not they haven't lost any really big losses in the transfer portal. A couple injuries could hurt the Aggies a little bit, but overall, I think going into a bowl game these days, they're looking pretty good overall.
We're getting pretty much what we would have seen in a 2023 Aggie football team. We're going to be seeing pretty much that come this Saturday for the most part.
Yeah, I would say Levi Williams is a little bit less of a pocket passer and more of a runner. So he just has different strengths.
Plays right into our strong suit, man. That's great. I love it. I want to hear that.
Yeah, don't throw the ball at all. We're good.
Yeah, he's more of a runner, less of a passer. But I mean, he's a big kid, big arm, and the Aggies definitely have some deep threats. So I mean, if you watch for number 1 and number 0, you're going to see some deep shots thrown to them for sure.
And what a cool name, Levi Williams. That just sounds like a badass player. I like it.
He needs to be sponsored clearly by Levi's.
Clearly.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's just made for him. So have
you guys heard his story, how he's going to be a Navy SEAL?
No.
I read that he's gonna
now I
forgo
can't.
the next season.
Now I can't.
Yeah.
I can't shout. I hope you die during the game. Oh man, see, that's unfair. That's
Yeah, I
unfair.
So
That's my whole stick.
did you
Yeah.
actually lose your first 2 quarterbacks this year, like to injury?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I was
so
seeing all these
first two-
it looked like your dual threat, like rotating quarterbacks, or your primary got injured, then your secondary got injured. You're on your third string.
Yeah, Levi was the third string guy, and but he has an awesome story. I mean, he's a great runner, big kid.
Uh-huh.
Obviously played really well against New Mexico. They just didn't want to. He wasn't first string. He wasn't second string. He's third string,
Yeah.
and now all of these news outlets and everybody's hearing about his story of him.
Mhm.
Really, he could come back and play one more year, but he decided to go into the Navy. So it's an awesome story as far as
that's great.
what
Yeah,
he's going to do after.
Mad respect for anybody that chooses to do it. Hey Tim, I'm so glad that Ryan's not here right now.
He loves. What are you talking about? Ryan loves
Is
the
he,
military. He's like pro military.
Ryan, our third guy on the podcast. He has some
Strong
words
opinions.
about this. Some strong opinions on the military. I like to say that he hates them all, but he doesn't. I like to say it. I like to say
it's okay. Well, so because we're in the same conference, it's okay to hate the football players,
Okay.
not the military.
Not what they're
So
doing.
you can hate them as football players and as a football team, because we hate Air Force. We hate
There you
Air
go.
Force. But outside of that, yes, respect as a military member and everything. We don't have to like their coach or them as players.
Oh
or
yeah,
their
the
offensive line,
employees.
anything like
The employees, you can hate them all you want, right? Yeah. No,
Oh, for sure.
we played at Army last year, and I flew up there for that because it was an experience I
that's
wanted to
awesome.
have. And if you guys ever play at West Point, do it, because I don't know if you're a drinker or not, but we are active drinkers here, and there's a booze cruise that goes from Manhattan up the Hudson and drops you
Oh,
off
wow.
at West Point. It was a great experience. It was a lot of fun. It was a whole and then you get there, and like you were talking about, everybody there is nice as hell because they're all military and they're just beaten over the head about being, nice, respectful people. And so it was
Yeah.
the most accommodating opposing fan base I've ever seen. It was great.
Yeah, that would be an
But
awesome place to go to for sure.
Yeah. So I made a comment to you about how we know basically nothing about Utah State. What is your perspective from a Utah State fan base as a fan? What do you guys think about this matchup? What do you think about playing Georgia State, a school that just started playing football a few years ago? What do you think? And you can be as candid as you want. We're not going to hate you.
Yeah.
We hate our team more than anybody could ever hate it. Let us know. Give us the full feedback about with this game.
No, I think for the most part, the Aggies have had a lot of success against teams from the MAC or Sun Belt or Conference USA in these bowl games. A couple of the bowl games have been, well, I guess you even mentioned Memphis, and teams like that have been tougher games. So I think most Aggie fans are like, oh, well, we got kind of an easier matchup as far as, teams we would rather play. We'd rather play like a Sun Belt or Conference USA team or MAC team. Well, yeah, even a MAC team over some other team in a different bowl game. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the way we look at it, as far as having the legit just depth and athletes and speed and size and everything that's tough for the Aggies to match up with for the most part. Like I say, that's kind of been the story of this season, is you go against the Iowas and the Fresno States and the better teams, even Air Force, and the Aggies have kind of gotten beat up by bigger, more physical teams. And so if Utah State can come out and kind of be as physical as Georgia State, if not more physical, then I think it could be a good game for the Aggies.
Now, we're not really sure how many people are actually getting on the plane for our team to go to this game, because we're not sure if they're just entering the portal in droves. Can we borrow some of your players, like just offense, defense, flip it? Like, you guys do friendlies? I mean, we who knows with our team what's going to happen.
Yeah, as long as you guys have 20, hopefully you have like 25 players.
We the guys are out there. They're already over. They landed
as long as you've got
touchdown in Boise today, and they posted some Twitter picture of them with like skull caps on their or shower caps on their helmets. I don't know what the hell they were doing, but they're over there. Everybody's there, and once you're out in Boise, there's no coming home. You're playing that game one way or the other. If you want to get back on the plane to get back, you're playing there.
They're feeding you tons of potatoes.
I don't think we've ever won a game against a team that's been outside of the Central Time Zone, like Mountain and Pacific. I don't think.
Really?
I know we maybe beat New Mexico State, but I know we lost to Idaho both times. We lost to Wyoming in the bowl game. We lost to San Jose State in the bowl game.
That was also
so our record against you late risers, I'm not sure how we'll do out there, but
yeah, I mean, I think it depends on if the Aggies are excited to be there too. I think they'll have, like we just mentioned, they have some, they have guys that should be excited, whether it's the older guys that, seniors that want to kind of go out, and guys like Levi Williams, like, hey, this is my last shot. I'm going to live it up and do my best. So hopefully I think they'll come out pretty motivated.
But playing on a blue field is pretty stupid, right? Like that blue field's ugly, right?
This is idiotic.
This is coming from a school whose color is the same color blue, but that's a pretty ugly field, right?
It is the ugliest field. Let me tell you.
Coastal Carolina is the ugliest. Come on.
No. Boise State's by far the worst. Oh. It's worse than the red, the gray, the red.
Oh, that
whatever color field you want to throw out there, it's worse. But. And I will say, if any of you are coming out here, the worst part about watching a game in Boise is you can have literal front row 50-yard line seats, and that is literally the worst seat in the building.
Oh yeah,
that's the worst seat because the stadium the field is like so far away from the bleachers, from the actual seats. The way they built onto it and expanded, and it used to have a track around it.
That's what I was going to ask. It used to have a track around it. Yeah.
Super weird layout. So
Appy State's the same way. They used to have a track around theirs. They just got rid of it recently. But I want to take a departure for a second because we were talking about your prior games, and I know it was an FCS game, but you guys scored 78 points against Idaho State. 78. I don't think we've ever scored 78 points. And 2 games combined. That must have been I think the math is like 19 points a quarter or something like that. Like that's
yeah, it was insane how many defensive and how many touchdowns they scored.
They're just handing you guys the ball, just like, here, take it.
It was insane. Like you look at the box score, and it was 7-7 in the first quarter.
Oh, really?
We ended up with 78 points.
Wow.
They scored 44 points in the second quarter.
40 no way.
44.
That's got to be up there in the record books for the most points scored in any quarter, right?
Has to be close.
For Utah State, for sure, yeah. Utah State, it was a record. Utah State,
fantastic.
Was a record. I don't know about anything else. But yeah, 44 points, and then it was like, oh, we'll score 2 touchdowns in the third, and we'll score 13 points in the fourth.
Don't talk to us about scoring in the first half and then forgetting where the end zone is in the second half.
Forgetting how to play football
in
the second half. Yeah,
that's the state way over here, man, in Georgia.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
I gotta ask, Isaac. So when the purple people came to your place, did they show up? A, and B, did they throw streamers? Were they there? Any of them? Were you at the game?
There was a few. Yeah, I was there. No. There was a few James Madison people.
Yeah,
they seemed great. They seemed great.
Okay, they're great.
They are an insufferable.
Okay.
They're an insufferable bunch. My God, man.
You could have done the Sun Belt all college football in America a favor by beating him that game.
I know that would have been. Did you guys see the meme where the head coach was showing his phone or showing somebody's phone, one of the assistants' phones?
Yep.
To the ref.
Yep.
That
Actually, I you know what we talked about that.
That is 100% insane.
We talked about that, and I completely forgot that was against Utah State until just because, again, southeast bias. Just don't think about things outside. I forgot what you guys, but yeah, we talked about that. That is ridiculous that they actually, because you're not supposed to have phones, and that isn't insufferable lunch. I can't. I wish that when the Sun Belt invited them to join the conference, there was, you get hired to a new job. There's like a 90-day probation period. I wish there was like, a 1 or 2 or 3 year probation period. Be like, you know what? Your fans, like, you're good. Your team is good. Your team has met all of the qualifications to be a Sun Belt member, but your fan base sucks. You're out. We don't care about you anymore. Plus, purple's ugly.
Well, pretty much that's what the bowl and the championship ban was. I mean, they have been on probation. They've been the best team in the conference, but they haven't won the conference for the last couple of years, right?
Yeah,
so that is kind of their probation. Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, going back to some of the other games, I think part of that, Utah State last year lost to. It's a purple team too, but we have a purple team here in state, Weber State, and so they're an FCS team, and Utah State lost to that purple team last year.
Can you bring
which
that
was really
team?
Annoying?
Can that team go to Boise this weekend? We need a team that lost to an FCS team to show up. That's the team we need.
Yeah. That'd be nice. That'd be nice to make it a little bit more competitive, but we'll see.
Are you gonna make it up to the game? Are you gonna go up there to Boise?
Yeah. Nice. I almost didn't make the drive. I mean, it's only a couple hour drive, 3-4 hour drive for us, and so so we're gonna drive up there and
nice.
Brave it shouldn't be super bad weather. It'll be a little bit cold.
We could have a snow game.
Ideal, yeah.
We could have a snow game. As far as what Georgia considers snow, we could have a blizzard game because it said I wrote it down. Snow showers, and to us that is shut down the entire city. So this could be a fun, exciting game for us to watch, but not too cold. I think the high's 34, which I think is what my basement feels like right now.
Yeah.
Do you expect a Utah State fan turnout there in Boise? Are you guys going to show up?
Just because it's so close. I mean, people can drive up the day of and home the night of.
Right.
So I think it should be a decent, not great. So Utah State, the first two. Really kind of the if you want a history lesson of Utah State really turned things around, got a new coach in 2011, 2012, and those first bowl games were actually Potato Bowl back in the WAC days, back in the WAC days when Utah State was in the same conference as Louisiana Tech and some of those schools. So the Potato Bowl back then was a huge accomplishment, and we, had almost a packed, stadium for some.
Wait! You're saying we're not going to a huge accomplishment bowl? I thought we were going to like the best of the West.
Yeah,
what's going on over here?
Where's this bowl ranked for the Mountain West? Is this like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th?
Well, it's good enough to get a 6-6 Utah State game.
Yeah, it's probably the 5th best bowl game in the Mountain West. So
I will tell you what, it was not on our radar at all. Like our radar is Orlando, Montgomery, Alabama, New Orleans, Conway, South Carolina. Yeah.
Birmingham, Birmingham was up there.
You know what? Losing 5 games in the season does not become a very attractive offer for a bowl game.
So
Lately?
you're saying Georgia State fans aren't coming to Boise, Idaho, and
Well,
droves.
if you listen to the other Sunbelt teams' fan bases, you're talking to like 90% of the entire fan base. We don't have any fans at all. But no, I really don't. I think that the location and the time that it is, because I got kids, I have
Yeah.
young children. So if I were to, I try to find the way to make it the quickest trip, like get there as late as possible and get home as early as possible. I'm not getting home until Christmas Eve at like 4:30, flying into Atlanta, arriving at 4:30 on Christmas Eve. That's just not a doable thing. So anybody going from Atlanta is, effectively foregoing Christmas at home with their kids and their family. So I do not expect a large fan base. I think you'll get a lot of parents, obviously.
Sure.
You'll probably get some empty nesters that are coming out there. But no, I mean, Tim, if we have 100 people there, that's a huge turnout, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, and
Right.
also the flights, even before it was officially announced, the flights were like
Right.
$700-800 out of the gate.
It's not cheap.
It's not cheap. I was trying to
But
figure out how to get out of there after the game to come home. Like, is there a red eye? Nope. You just got to wait
Nope,
till the next day.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I looked for the same flight, like fly home after, because the game is pretty early.
Right.
Yeah,
pretty
you're
early
probably better off to fly in and out of Salt Lake, because Salt Lake to Atlanta has a
Yeah.
lot of flights, but you also
But
makes a 4-hour drive.
we do have our own little disciple that's heading out there. We got a guy that's going out there to do some social media stuff, to record some stuff and represent
Okay.
state of Atlanta out there. So
he might flick off the field. We'll see.
he may do some inappropriate stuff. He's only
been
affiliated
known.
as far as we accept it.
Yeah, I like it. I have no
Um,
problem with that.
So while we have you here, well, before I get into this question, all right. So
Yeah.
what is do you do predictions? Because I know a lot of people don't do game predictions. Do you have a prediction on this game?
Oh man, I don't really do predictions either.
right.
But I mean, I think the Aggies. I mean, the last time I did a prediction, it kind of came back to bite me. But
Okay, then say you're gonna win. Say you're gonna win. Say you're gonna win. Say
yeah.
say you're gonna win.
No, I mean, I think first, I would say the first to 30 would win.
First to 30. I like.
safe to say.
See, that's the kind of predictions that I do. That's
Yeah.
I don't give any like legit response. I'm like, the first team that hits 30 points, exact
I
same.
don't care if it's 35 to 21, 35 to
Yeah.
0, whatever. If the Aggies can put up some points, which I think they can, get to 35 points or so, Aggies win.
If we get to
I like
5
it.
sacks, we're gonna win the game. I don't know. Just throw out random.
Random stats.
Arguably our best player on the team, Marcus Carroll, has gone to the portal and he's off to the SEC.
Wide
If
receiver,
our
right?
and a receiver as well, but I mean Marcus Carroll was really like the powerhouse, the
Running
workhorse of the
back,
team.
Oh, yeah.
If I think that if his backup can actually replicate a quarter of what he does, I like our offense with him and Darren Granger. I think that will do good there, but I'm not willing to bet the house on anything, so we'll see what happens. If we can contain your offense, then we'll win the game.
Yeah, I brought up the sacks because it looked like, for the first 2 quarterbacks, he had 20 and 17 sacks for, whatever amount of games they played. That's kind of more than a few. So I don't know if your offensive line is going to allow us to get through and potentially try to sack Mr. Levi, but that would be a good way.
I
for
don't
us
know.
to get
I'll
to
be
a
wearing my
W.
Wranglers. I'll be wearing my Wranglers
Yeah.
because screw Levi's. It's all about Wranglers.
Well, yeah, go do it. Yeah, I mean, I think the offensive line has been a little bit of a disappointment this season.
Mhm.
And the Aggies tomorrow signing day, and they'll be signing quite a couple portal guys and to the offensive line and defensive line, and some freshmen to really they need some more competition in the offensive line. So I mean, by all means, I think that could be that if Georgia State is going to really disrupt the Aggies, it's going to have to be that pass rush. Absolutely.
All right.
Excellent. All right. Well, I would be remiss if I did not talk to you about what's happening with realignment on the West Coast with the Pac and Mountain West. What are you hearing over there? What's your expectations? What do you think is going to happen over there?
Do you like it?
Well,
I mean,
I think I would like it if there was any rhyme or reason to it, like the ACC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 are just took over the Pac-12 like it was a game of Risk, just like, oh, we're going to take over those areas, and then Oregon State and Washington State are sitting there standing, with nothing to do, no place to call home, and they just got completely screwed. Other than now, they are at least have been smart in the court system or whatever you want to call it. They've sued, so they don't have to pay out those teams that leave. So they basically get all the money for a couple of years. So they're basically dragging their feet. I think they just I think the Mountain West will be a great league, for great football and basketball league if Utah State, or if the Mountain West adds Oregon State and Washington State. I think that's a great league. Not really the Pac-12 level by any means. Maybe,
but do they keep the Mountain West? But do they keep the Mountain West name, or do they take the Pac name?
I think they'll probably take the Pac-12 name and just kind of merge the two conferences.
The Mountain what?
Because just like the Mountain 12. I don't know.
That sounds like some movies you can get the theater downtown Atlanta right
Pacific.
now.
Mountain 12,
the Mountain Pacific, the Mountain.
Hey,
Pac.
let's go at least Mountain 16.
Pac.
It's illegal in most of the states in the South.
Yeah, I mean that Mountain Pacific League should be pretty good. I mean, pretty competitive, especially in basketball. But I guess we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, I feel like we're not huge fans of the Sun Belt Conference that we're in, but that being said, I feel like the Mountain West and the Sun Belt have become the best G5 conferences out there when it comes to football, at least. So it's very interesting to see what's happening out there. Again, don't know a lot about the West Coast side of teams and everything, but it's interesting to see what's happening out there, and inevitably what's going to change with college football over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Utah State would have been in the Sun Belt with you guys if it wasn't for the Mountain West.
The Sun Belt.
So,
we're in the Sun Belt.
We're grateful for the Mountain West, but because those were some horrific years in the Sun Belt and independent Sun Belt. Those were horrible years.
I did not know that until today, that you guys were in the Sun Belt for a couple 2003 through 2005. You guys were Sun Belt members, which, by the way, I'm
try to forget that.
Well, okay. Well, screw you. But no, Georgia State's actually a founding member of the Sun Belt. We exited when they made football a requirement, and then we came back once we had football. But yeah, we're a founding member.
Okay.
I think South Alabama is the only forever team in the Sun Belt. They're like that guy that he's the company man. Tim, that's what we should call him. We should call him the company man.
The company man.
USA, like they get a job and they just they never leave. That guy is going to make $45,000 for his entire life. That's all he's going to do. which in Pennsylvania, what were they? Yeah. Mobile would be good for them. You can make a lot of $45,000 goes a long way in Mobile, Alabama. So, hey, Tim, you got any more questions? Right?
It's crazy.
We kept you for a while here. Tim, do you have any more questions for Isaac before we let him get out of here?
No, I think I'm good.
Hey, Isaac, it was great talking to you, man. I really appreciate it. I actually hope that we can play you guys again sometime, because it was a really fun conversation.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would be great to play Georgia State and
maybe get you in a
Sunbelt
basketball
teams.
game or something like that. You know,
Basketball
nice.
for sure. Basketball would be
Yeah.
great for sure. You guys came to BYU earlier this year,
did-
right?
we're
come
making the
there? I don't
rounds
really
of
know.
the Utah teams. Like it's our thing. We're making sure that Utah knows we're moving into Utah as the next recruiting state for us in both football and basketball. We want to make our presence known. The blue and white and mostly black.
Yeah. Well, we don't like BYU, so I was hoping Georgia State would be
Oof.
BYU.
That was a big
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't help you out there, man.
I know.
No one's more sorry than us, but we went in there knowing exactly what we were. So, all right. Well,
All
thank you
right,
very
sounds
much,
good.
Isaac. It's great talking to you,
Okay.
and enjoy. Stay warm, stay dry during the game, and may the best team win.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All
Take it
right,
easy.
take care.
Bye. Oh,
Well, he's out.
well, all
That
right.
was good.
That was good.
He was fun. Hey, and he's been to more UConn games than the UConn guys been to.
That was hilarious. You still can't ever live that down, right? We interviewed someone that had literally never been to a UConn game.
Hey, but he knew more about the team than we did.
I know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. I actually looked at flights again tonight. I was like, well, maybe no.
Yeah, are you gonna sacrifice your Christmas to go to
You know
Boise?
what? It's been hard to get up for this game because we just lost the rest of the season, but I'm slowly getting there. I mean, I looked at flights, so obviously I'm starting to care a little bit, right? Hope is building.
Yeah, no, it's like that's what the Georgia State is like having herpes. Like you think your interest is gone, and then it flares up again, and you're like, oh shit, where'd that come from? Oh, damn it!
It'll be gone tomorrow.
Exactly. give me another week, and I'll be out of here. I'll be done.
I just wish there was a way to get home after the game.
I looked at that. I looked at getting flights back after the game. Like I even looked at in and out same day. That was impossible. I was like, all right, fly in the night before, fly out after the game. It's just not an option.
And 4 hours driving to Salt Lake City, no thanks.
No, that kills all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, you've got a little bit easier of a decision to make when it
Sure.
not having the kids and stuff, but when it comes down to 4:30 is the earliest you can land in Atlanta on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, no.
It's a non-starter.
No,
it's a non-starter. So
it definitely is. It'll be fun to watch the game, though.
At Manny's, watch the game at Manny's.
Manny's is always a good time.
We've never had a bad time there. We had one loss.
Have you gone back yet to re-secure the space?
I went to go secure the space, and the woman that was there that I needed to talk to was there at the time, and then I didn't bring it up until after she was gone. So I think we'll be fine. We'll be good. The bartender thought it'd be good. She was like, if you're bringing more than 20 people, it'd be a problem. It's Georgia State. We don't bring 20 people to a football game. So
maybe 10, maybe 10.
Yeah.
10 to 15.
All we're going to order is just pictures of PBR. Literally just put a PBR keg out there and we'll be good to go.
Ooh, so. Really? PBR? Ugh.
You got to keep Ryan happy. He gets so soft.
I had a pint of that last time. I'm like, I'll just keep drinking the Miller.
And then the next morning, your head was just aching from
whatever they put in there. Who knows what's in PBR?
It's the R. It's the R that's the bad part.
we should have called Ryan to his party onto this.
Well, that's what I said. We should have had Ryan call in, do the little if you ever watched the Her movie where Joaquin Phoenix has his little phone, his Scarlett Johansson phone, just walking around with him the entire time.
Yeah,
that would have been hilarious.
Man, they should have beat the freaking purple people.
Yeah. Oh, it would have changed the entire season of college football.
Oh, yeah.
They would have never gotten game day. They
still have been good, but just not as good.
They probably still would have beaten us because by then we were playing absolute garbage. But
they
would have that fan. You know what? If they would have done that, I probably wouldn't hate the fan base so much. So it's Utah State's fault that I hate Jimmy Madison's fan base so much. It's their fault.
I do think we can get to their quarterback though, because man, 20 sacks on their first quarterback. I don't even know how many games he played, and then 17 on the other one. That's a lot.
You know, I really don't have any high expectations for this game. I'm not saying we can't win it. I'm not saying that it's a guaranteed loss. I'm just going in with so little expectations that we lose a game. But if we could win this game, we could find a way to pull it out. Well, you can always find a way to pull it out. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. But speaking of pulling it out, but we win this game. Trash down south lost their bowl game. We finish ahead of them in standings. That's all that matters to me right now.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, that would definitely be true.
Right?
But is it going to make you feel better about the season?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It makes you feel better about Trash down south being last place.
That does make me feel better.
Exactly, right? I mean, it's
and their basketball team. Come on.
And the basketball team can't win a game. 0-12. Did not win an out-of-conference game at all.
But
screw those guys.
Now the rest of the season is just going to be who's going to lose to them. Someone's going to lose to them. They're not going to lose every game.
It's going to be us. We're going to lose our game.
No, we can't. We need to figure out how to play hoops ball before then. All right.
We played great today.
I watched from my tablet. I'm like, wow, we're playing the JV team in a middle school.
Yeah, it still looked bad. Like it was like we won the game. We put up 150 points or whatever it was, but we did it in a very poor fashion. Like it was bad. It wasn't great.
It looked like street ball.
It was street ball, but with between two teams that were completely unmatched with each other. Yeah, because there was a great play in the first half. I can't remember who the player was, but they Tacoma Falls went up to like do like a layup. And it ended up being a foul, but our guy is literally just reaches his arm through it and it's like arms the ball and like brings it down with him. Like, no, this is my ball now. You can't have it anymore. It was like we were all, like the entire crowd like, ooh, like that was like aggressive, and he got fouled. Actually, I think it was early in the game. I think it may have been the first foul that we got. Gave him the first 2 foul points, free throw points.
Yeah,
but. No, they weren't serving booze at hospitality during the first half.
I was curious. I was like, well, if this game's at 11, I wonder if they're
this
not going to serve.
Sunday. It's not a Sunday. I was able to go upstairs
and buy
a beer.
So the downstairs wouldn't sell. You give it for free, but upstairs would sell it.
Oh, and to make it even worse or make it even better, however you want to look at it, once we got downstairs, they literally had like it roped off with chains. Like you cannot open this case to get the beer out. No one came down at halftime to open it up, and so like you could kind of, because they're horrible about lassoing things, you could kind of open it up a little bit, and like the lady had people like reaching their arms in there to grab beer out because her arms were too short to do it, and they were grabbing beer out, and then she was doing her job. She was opening them, but she just couldn't reach far enough into it to get the beer, so she was having other people grab the beer they wanted.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, like let's move all the Night on Ponce to the far side of the cooler, and put all the Coors Light on the other side. Like, get the good beer up front, because if you're getting a free beer, you're not drinking a Coors Light.
Right. That's some Georgia State for you right there.
The state way, buddy. It's the state way.
Yeah, we're going to open the beer just only, a quarter of an inch, so you can't get it.
It was ridiculous. And I even talked to like athletics about it. I'm like, hey, so they're not doing the beer and the hospitality until the second half. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm giving the eyes like, what the hell's going on? And he's like, it's just what it is. I think what it was is they knew that Ryan and I were going. These guys are going to drink. They're going to drink all the beer we have. So make them go buy one or two first.
What'd you get upstairs? You get a Flight, Yingling. What'd you go for?
We got a couple of Yingling, a couple of the big boy Yinglings. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Danny's got it. It's the Eli way. That's right.
I like the state way.
No, it's the Eli way. Thanks, Eli. Making everything better.
I was wondering if they're going to do it, though. I figured they might not serve at least.
I was curious if they're going to serve it all. Honestly, just don't serve it all.
10:30. Right.
Just don't serve it all. Like, but make it an announcement. Like, say, hey, we're not serving at all. Because like, my first thought was, damn it, I should have stayed in the parking lot and just drank in the 28-degree weather. And Ryan was like, they sell beer upstairs. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a way better idea.
We could just walk up these steps and get some brews.
Exactly.
Nice.
All right, I think we can kill this, right?
We can kill this. There's another
Excellent.
other podcast, basically.
I know, right? All right. Later, guys.
Later.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Or not Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you next week. So.